Hello, what about you? And if you like any of this stuff, do hit the subscribe button because we'll have other stuff coming up and we'd like you to find out about it. So it's been an interesting week for me. This week I passed my 6 months and a couple of weeks since I got my second vaccine. So I toddled off to the RVH walk-in COVID clinic to get my booster. And I got my booster and I'm very happy to have got my booster. And now I've got 2 cards, yes. And the COVID deniers are right. We are going to end up with a deck of playing cards of our COVID cards if we're lucky enough to survive, that is. And I'd like to start by thanking all the staff at the RVH Hospital COVID clinic, who it was very professional and slick operation, especially the lady who gave me my injection. I hope she won't mind me pointing out that she was no spring chicken like me, even older than me, which means she's one of the many doctors and nurses who have come back to help us over this hump of a pandemic, and they deserve our gratitude and thanks. Now, I'm standing in the queue waiting for my jab, and 2 up from me, we were social distance, I got a mask on, yes, but being good boys and girls, but 2 up from me was a very posh lady. I think she may have come from that part of Northern Ireland where everyone speaks as if they're on Valium, where they try to pronounce every word absolutely perfectly because they're terrified of being identified as being from Northern Ireland. Well, anyway, this old doll wasn't amused. She was vexated. She was anxious because she wanted to make sure she was getting exactly the same vaccine she got the first 2 times, because as she said, I had no side effects and that's all I want. I'm not taking anything else. Off she goes to collar some doctor to make sure she was getting what she wanted. She was, thank God. I had to bite down hard in my mask because I wanted to point out to this old doll, listen, you should take what you are given, love. This is not ordering a round of drinks. Take what you are given and be grateful that you have been fortunate to be born in a part of the world which has the NHS, where we can walk up and get a vaccine just like that, while the rest of the world, 2/3 of the world, haven't even seen their first vaccine. You should be grateful for what you're getting, love. Go home and give your thanks. I didn't say anything. I bit down on my mask. It was hard. I didn't, by the way, get the same vaccine I got the first 2 times, and I don't give a shite. I was just very grateful to get the booster, as everybody should be. Now, because... And I queued up for an hour. That's all it took, an hour. And in I went, 15-minute wait, and out I come. And has been my habit on top of Cave Hill. No side effects, no nothing. Wee bit of a sore arm. That just means it's working. I'm very, very happy to feel that. You understand? I don't know about side effects, but I don't know. I have to say to the older gentlemen who may be watching this, who are maybe a bit nervous about getting the vaccine, I don't know if this is a side effect, but I feel distinctly frisky. Definitely. I feel distinctly frisky. I'd say you could throw your Viagra away, boys. Just get your old booster and off you go. No, that's a lie, you understand? That's a lie. That's not true. What I decided to do is start my own conspiracy theories to get the vaccine. I think that'd be a good idea. You know, why do the lunatics have all the good conspiracy theories? You know, if we had only thought, if Robin Swan had come out at the start of this and said, getting the vaccine will put 3 inches on a man's dick and take 6 inches off a woman's waist, you'd have a queue up to Glengormley. You'd be beating people away from the Royal. You could charge them money to get in to get the vaccine. Now, because sadly, the rates of infection are going up, and tragically, the rates of death are also going up. And would you believe it? Our politicians are finding it hard to agree. After decades of concordat, cooperation, and respect and admiration, on this occasion, in the middle of a pandemic, they can't seem to agree. Yeah, the DUP, they don't want a COVID passport. They must have had an assurance from the Prime Minister that they don't need it. When's that ever gone wrong? Sinn Féin, they're pushing for everyone to wear masks at all times. Probably because it'll make them feel more comfortable. Yeah, the UUP, they're doing their best to protect the Health Minister, Robin Swan. Alliance Party leader, Naomi Long, well, she's Justice Minister and she believes in the COVID restrictions and the enforcement of them, but she doesn't think it's her department's responsibility, and really the police shouldn't be doing it. Who else? ICU nurses resigned after, I would guess, being asked to move from doing the intolerable to the impossible. where once they were asked to look after one person in an ICU, they're now asked up to 3 patients. Is it any wonder that they can't take it anymore? Of course, one of the biggest problems is Northern Ireland has the lowest uptake of vaccination in the whole of the UK. And the reason for that is very simple. People continue to listen and believe mis- and disinformation they're getting online. So I thought I'd do my wee bit this week. So if you bear with me, I want to show you 2 clips, okay? And I can guarantee you these are factually correct. They are correct, okay? The first one comes from Paul Clark, who was interviewing the Chief Scientific Advisor here, Professor Ian Young. And this is what he had to say about the efficacy of vaccinations.
There's very clear evidence that vaccines reduce your risk of getting COVID by about 70 to 90%. In addition, they reduce the risk of severe disease, including hospital admission or death, by closer to 95%. Unfortunately, the immunity after vaccination does wane over a few months, but if you get your booster vaccine, it will restore at least the initial levels of protection, if not even higher levels of protection. In addition, there's clear evidence that if you're vaccinated and become infected, because some people still will, that you will be less likely to pass the virus on to other people. And that's why vaccination is one component of the COVID certificates that the executive have recommended.
The second clip, I have to give a strong language warning. Okay, this is an American lady wielding a calculator. Now, she isn't a medic, but what she is a mathematician. And she is, as she said, very, very good at figures. So here's what she has to say. Strong language.
I'm so fucking tired of this argument because yes, you can still get COVID if you are fully vaccinated, but do you know the statistics to that? Do you know the odds of getting COVID if you are fully vaccinated? Because I do. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm really fucking good at numbers. So let me show you. There are 330 million people in the United States, right? Divide that by the 41 million COVID cases that we've had, and that gives you a 1 in 8 chance of catching COVID in the United States. 1 in 8 people have gotten COVID in the United States. Of those 41 million people, you've had 670,000 or so deaths. Right? That's a 1 in 61. 1 in 61 people in the United States have died from COVID. 1 in 61 people who have gotten COVID in the United States have died. Okay? Let's take this further. There are 173 million people who are fully vaccinated in the United States, right? Do you know how many breakthrough cases there have been? Since as of August 30th, there's been 12,908. That gives you a 1 in 13,402 chances of catching COVID if you are fully vaccinated. 1 in 13,402 versus 1 in 8. Let's take it a step further. There have been 2,437 deaths related to COVID, or people who are COVID positive and fully vaccinated, right? 480 of those aren't related to COVID, which means that they died from a car accident or something totally unrelated to COVID. So we're going to round that to 2,000. 173 million people in the United States are fully vaccinated. Divide that by the 2,000 that have died fully vaccinated from COVID. That gives you a 1 in 86,500 chances of getting COVID and dying if you are fully vaccinated. So unvaccinated, you have a 1 in 8 chance of catching COVID. You have a 1 in 61 chance of dying from COVID. And fully vaccinated, you have a 1 in 13,402 chances of catching COVID and a 1 in 86,500 chances of dying from COVID. How about we all just realize that billions of shots have been given worldwide, billions of people have been fully vaccinated, and we have a way to end this pandemic. We have a way for children to stop losing their fucking parents. Go get the fucking shot.
Of course, the figures she's talking about are as reasonable over here as they are over there. They're exactly the same quotas. So as friends I have in America would say, people, do the math. I'm telling you, the math will do you. While the UK media seem obsessed on refugees coming across the English Channel, not much is written or talked about the God knows how many who have lost their lives, drowned, trying to make that perilous journey. Yet as they risk life, limb and the small fortunes they have had to reach these shores, the Tory government has come up with a scheme 6 months ago to fast track a certain class of person straight through the usual immigration checks. Yes, if you happen to have a Nobel Prize in chemistry or physics or biology, or if you're a mathematician who's won the Fields Medal, or even if you're a Brit winner, you get straight in. Yes, Home Secretary Priti Patel has decided that this will attract the brightest and the best to the UK. One problem. 6 months after the scheme was started, there hasn't been one application. Not one application. It seems that the brightest and the best around the world have looked at the UK, swarming as it is and drowning in Brexit and COVID-19, and they have said, no thanks. Thanks very much, but no. Sadly, Priti wouldn't even think about the possibility that on those small boats trying to cross the channel could be a child who could be the next Einstein. That one of the wee girls trying to get to these shores to get an education she's being denied at home could find a cure for cancer. Far-fetched. Well, a man called Noras Rohal, a 27-year-old scientist, along with his team of researchers, has just discovered a way to give the COVID-19 vaccine just by rubbing it on the skin rather than having to inject it into muscle. Yes, he is a refugee who escaped from Syria, from Damascus and that war to make a new life here. So who knows what we're missing by not allowing those small boats in. The one thing we're definitely not going to miss is Nobel laureates, because Priti, they ain't coming. They ain't coming anytime soon. Last wasn't a good week for Boris. Dear God, this was a terrible week. Boris toddled off to make a speech to the top industrialists and business people in the UK at a CBI conference. And for once, his physical dishevelment was matched by his mental dishevelment. Yes, halfway through the speech, Boris lost his place. And I think he also lost his mind.
With great local schools, with fantastic broadband. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me.
Boris decided to try to cover the fact that he didn't know what he was talking about by doing a wee bit of comedy improv. Dangerous. Believe me, I do this. This is dangerous. For an amateur, very dangerous, as you're about to see. Because what Boris decided to riff on was a visit he had made to Peppa Pig Land. I didn't know it's a Peppa Pig Land. There's a Peppa Pig Land. And Boris was very impressed by Peppa Pig Land. And he started riffing on it and joking on it. What could go wrong?
Forgive me. Yesterday I went, as we all must, to Peppa Pig World. I don't know if you've been to Peppa Pig World. Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World? Not enough. It's fantastic. I was a bit hazy what I would find at Peppa Pig World, but I loved it. And Peppa Pig World is very much my kind of place. It has very safe streets, discipline in schools, heavy emphasis on new mass transit systems, I notice, even if they're a bit stereotypical about Daddy Pig.
Tory spads were throwing themselves from the third floor windows of Downing Street. And it's been reported that Dominic Cummings was heard to be laughing hysterically as he picked the wings off flies feasting on a dead cow he had taken home to talk to about Brexit. So bad was Boris's performance that one brave journalist asked the question everybody else was thinking.
In your speech to the CBI, you lost your notes, you lost your place, you went off on a tangent about Peppa Pig. frankly, is everything okay?
I think that people got the vast majority of the points I wanted to make, and I thought it went over well.
Boris isn't okay. Believe me, Boris isn't okay. Boris himself admitted with the Owen Patterson case that he had driven the car of government into a ditch on a clear road. And it's only going to get worse, which makes it very, very interesting. Boris later faced a rebellion of his own MPs over his social care bill, which he'd added an amendment to, which in true Tory fashion levelled out the playing field, insofar as people with homes of about 80 or 120,000 pound would lose all the value of their home, but people with homes in the southeast over £1 million, they kept the vast majority of the value of their homes. How more level a Tory levelling can that be? For that there, we learnt that the much lauded HS2 ultra-fast train service to the north, well, it's actually not going all the way. It's stopping. It's not going to Leeds. Sorry. Terribly sorry. Too expensive. So it's not going there. And then we learn that our bridge, our beloved bridge, that Boris's bridge that he promised us between Scotland and Northern Ireland, is now not going to happen. Shocked. The DUP were rattled. They have asked for clarification from the Prime Minister on his other promises to them, namely that the Union flag will be flown from all public buildings in Dublin, that the Queen is going to relocate from Buckingham Palace to Hillsborough, and most importantly, that Prince Andrew is going to take over as Children's Commissioner for Northern Ireland. They really are. They've got to keep Boris. Of course, cynics said the bridge was only a Boris funny. He was only having a bit of fun with him. What do you hear what I can tell the DUP? Forget about the protocol. I'll tell them this. It'll be all fine. Go to build a bridge. Big bridge. What people may not have realised is the course of that bridge from Scotland to here would have crossed over a geographic feature called the Beaufort Dyke. Now, this is 20 mile long, 2 mile wide, bad enough, almost impossible to build on that. But another little issue is, from the 1920s, the Ministry of Defence have been dumping approximately 1.7 million tonnes of munitions, ordinary type, plus chemical weapons. And recently, it's been discovered they've also been dumping chemical waste in the form of radioactive stuff from laboratories. Now, why they chose to dump all this stuff between the Paddies and the Scots, I don't know. You understand? Why couldn't they have dumped it down by Old Blighty, where they created all this stuff? And now it's time to go over to our country correspondent, Mr. Two-Stroke Terry McHugh. Some say he's the love child of Jerry Adams and Iris Robinson. Some say he's been held hostage for a ransom that I won't pay.
Thank you. We call you. Thank you, Jake. Just give me 1 week. Don't know what I'm going to be for. They're blank. I was going to talk about. I went to Harry Potter World once. Actually, there was wizards and stuff. Just watch this video.
Whoa, the hokey cokey, knees bent, arms stretched.
The Prime Minister of Great Britain, ladies and gentlemen. So what's been going on in Culture Land? Well, a man turned up in Ireland this week and he made an announcement, and it had culties up and down the land polishing off their brown shoes and getting on their bootcut jeans and thanking their Lord and Saviour, because you see, if culties had a religion, it would be country and western music, and that would make Garth Brooks the culty pope. Yeah, Garth Brooks turned up at Croke Park. He announced he's going to be playing up to 5 shows in Croke Park in September of next year. There is only European dates. So trust me, I'm telling you, when the tickets go on sale, the streets of Tyrone will be emptier than they were at the height of lockdown. Okay, now I'm worried about this because I live in the middle of nowhere, right? I live in Cultureland, but I managed to get myself some of the fastest internet in Ireland. And people know I have very fast internet, right? And there's a lot of people around here who have no internet. And I just have this horrible feeling when tickets go on sale that morning, I'm going to look out the door and it's going to be like something from The Walking Dead, just a bunch of culture standing there going, internet, tickets, Garth Brooks. Garth turned up Croke Park, here he is. I thought it was lovely of him to turn up wearing a Tyrone uniform. There you go, classic Tyrone uniform, brown shoes, jeans, woolly jacket, cowboy hat. Yep, you see loads of them around here dressed like that. And Garth, he was talking about how much he loves playing Ireland, and he came out with this jam. Yeah.
So from a dive bar to a field to a stadium, I think you're still going to get that only in Ireland love kind of feel thing.
Even if you play a dive bar in Ireland, you get that Irish love. Garth, I paid my dues round Northern Ireland and the South, playing in some of the roughest pubs I have ever set foot in. Trust me, when someone shouted at me, "Get off stage, you long-haired skinny bird," I wasn't sitting there going, "Ah, well, at least it's in Ireland." And then the other thing he done, which I did not see coming, I don't think anybody's seen coming, was he announced that he has moved in with Jerry Adams.
Easily, I bet you we have 50 or 60 Irish flags at the house.
Of course, I had to ask a local culture what they thought about the news. So, you excited about the news, Mr. Brooks, or in Croke Park?
It'd be great to see Garth. Gareth in Croke Park. I'd be very excited.
I know it's Garth.
No, it's Garth. Garth Brooks.
No, it's Garth.
I have a cousin called Garth. Garth.
Where do we find these people?
Garth McDonald, you call him.
Thank you very much, Francie. More from him as the weeks go on. And that's me. Back to you, Jake.
I know what he was at, but that makes me nervous. That just makes me nervous. I'll tell you.
That's all, folks.